It's a few good Okay, we're live on YouTube now. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Smooth Breakfast Show, freshly pressed 901. With Valentine. The headlines. Yeah. In-depth analysis. Once you click on that, yeah. Freshly pressed on Smooth 98.1. Headlines. Union Bank. Your simpler, smarter bank. We're live. Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. I'm Ayo Mairo-Ese.
My name is Valentine. Welcome to Freshly Pressed 981.
On today's story, we have the honor of having barrister Orji Uka as our guest analyst for today. Morning, Orji. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. Good morning, Ayo. Just Orji is fine, as I always say. Good morning, Val. Good morning,
I have to add the Esquire.
I honestly, after what you've been through in the past 24 hours, I think that title is well deserving. Well, you're welcome to the show, and you can join our conversation. You can see us live on YouTube right now. So you head on to youtube.com/smooth981 FM Lagos to to see us live and also comment using the chat box option.
Yes, please. And also send on WhatsApp 0809-444-0981. Would like to hear or see your feedback, to read your feedback, your observations on the story, your comments. Please share them on WhatsApp 0809-444-0981. As with every other Freshly Pressed 981, your participation is key. We have stories to go through. Orji is our sole analyst today. We're so excited for that because he's always on point. Mm-hmm. We'll start with our first story that brings to mind the realities of COVID. Even as it seems like we're back to normal, things are beyond normal, as the new variants that we've been, running away from and trying to protect ourselves against invariably found its way into the shores of Nigeria. A statement by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control on Thursday night noted that the development of the new variants finding its way into Nigeria raises a grave concern. It's called the SARS-CoV-2, also known as the lineage B16172. The Delta variant has been described by the World Health Organization as the most transmissible variant. Orji, what are your thoughts regarding this new discovery?
Well, the first thought is once you hear COVID these days, you want to hear positive news, because whether COVID likes it or not, we are at the home stretch. It will come to an end, even not complete and coming to an end in the way things come to an end, but it's reducing and it will continue to reduce. But right now, we have a cause for concern, a bump in the road, as you say. The COVID variant, as we mentioned, the Delta variant, as we mentioned, it's responsible for the spike in about 98 countries around the world where it has already been reported. And then Nigeria has now reported one person coming to the country. And in the course of their routine tests, it was found that the person had the variant. Well, all there is to say is to just quote what Dr. Chinwe Ihekwazu, that's the DG of the NCDC, said. According to him, although we've seen a low number of COVID-19 cases in Nigeria in the past 8 weeks, it is important that we do not forget to be careful. And it has been a surge in some other countries, even in Africa, and some people have continued to lock down while some are beginning to reopen. I guess it's just for us. It's not entirely surprising. Nigerians are upwardly mobile. People coming and out of Nigeria. Nigerians, in fact, go out once in a while and come back into the country. So we would continue to see stuff like this. But the key thing is we must continue to be careful, and others must also be encouraged to go out to get their vaccines. I understand the second the second stage is here. People are now, those who were not eligible the first time are eligible for this time around. So the advice of people not to think it's over. That's what I think I should emphasize again. COVID has not ended. Some people have started using words like post-COVID. We're not there yet. We've seen what's happening in Tokyo. They've just declared a state of emergency at the place where they're about to start the Olympics. And we just have to be careful. That's the long and short of it.
Yeah.
Right.
I think this is a good point to remind Nigerians that beyond your health, for those who have been vaccinated, who say they're protected, this obviously is more transmissible than the previous variant. Also, the economic impact of shutting down the economy, if God forbid we had another outbreak. It is important that we still wear masks, that we still maintain social distance, and that we're still being, cautious. We maintain health and safety regulations, and not think, like you mentioned, Orji, that the worst is over. We are hoping for that, but until then, we must take responsibility.
You're absolutely right. It's actually, there's a strong need to remind everyone that national travel protocols still exist that includes compulsory 7-day self-isolation. And something cheery out of this story is the fact that there's a national reference laboratory where these routine tests are being carried on, and to note that the NCDC is on top of this matter. Thank you so much for that. Airlines must refund 100% to airfares to passengers after 2-hour delay. Now, this is a call by the federal government through the Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika. On Thursday, he addressed the State House briefing, addressed the press, and mentioned and read out the rights of travelers, and said that, first of all, that part, it says really that when airlines, it's on domestic airlines, on domestic flights, delay beyond 1 hour, carrier should provide refreshments, one telephone call, or one SMS, or one email, and they should send an SMS or email or call you to say, I'm sorry, I'm delaying you for an hour. Delay for 2 hours and beyond, the carrier shall reimburse passengers the full volume of their tickets. In a nation as ours, where we like announcements and we welcome pronouncements like this, does it go beyond this point? It sounds like a rhetorical question, but I mean, by Hadi Sirika's reiteration of this line charge, or rather these rights, does it enforce the rule that is going to be practicable?
Okay, I think I'm the best person to discuss.
Yes. Yes, you are.
Since I just suffered one yesterday. So the fact is that they've always been rights available to passengers, particularly in the aviation industry, that a lot of Nigerians do not know about. That's a fact. What Hadi Sirika announced yesterday, although some of them are revolutionary, some of them are different, particularly regarding the full refund after 2 hours delay. Because if that happens, you know that all the airlines will have to.
They're in trouble. Yes,
would have to refund all the passengers every now and then. But like I said, there are rights available to passengers that passengers don't even know about, and the more passengers know about it, the more the airlines sit up. I've had to travel somewhere in Nigeria before, and then they left my luggage. I immediately emailed them because it was crazy. They didn't even tell me I was going home, and they left my luggage in Lagos. When I arrived, and they told me I was leaving, what did I do? I sent an email to them, and I copied FCCPC, and immediately they called me because, of course, they knew that this person probably knows where to.
His rights. Yes.
At the end of the day, they refunded. They returned my luggage on evening flight of that same day, but it just delayed me for a few hours. So that happens. Again, yesterday, about 1 or 2 hours. It means that for my flight yesterday, I was entitled to a full refund because it was clearly delayed for more than 2 hours. After about an hour, they announced boarding. We lined up. Next thing, they asked us to go back to our seat, that they were trying to reset something, and then that delayed for about another 1 hour at the end of the day. But having said that, yes, there are rights. People should know that those rights exist, and people should complain to the right portals when those rights are infringed upon. But let's be realistic. When you say 2 hours, full refund of 2 hours, what are you saying? If I have a meeting tomorrow, and for example, I have to be one of the northern parts of the country next week, and I leave on Sunday. So if my flight is delayed by 2 hours, when you say I'm entitled to a refund, are you saying that they will refund me and I will still travel with them? Or you mean that after I get to the airport and I'm paid for 2 hours, I have to go back to my house?
There's another question. Or after they've informed you that there's a delay, are they still subject to paying you that refund?
No, the delay one they said it's one. They said on domestic flight, delay beyond 1 hour, you should send an SMS or email to say I am sorry, and then plus refreshment and say I am delaying for 1 hour. That's just well. But if it's now 2 hours, they then say that you're entitled to a full refund. And my question is,
So if you're going by the way, in the UK, it works with trains. So if you're delayed by a certain amount of hours, you'll pay the refund and you will still go on that journey. So it's not a cancellation of the flight, but it's a deterrent to airlines so that they don't take that option, because you're going to bear the cost. We are not going to tell the passengers to go home because they've already, but it's your fault. They can still go on that flight, but you pay them back the money.
So they travel for free in essence.
Yes, and then even get in fact doubly free. For free actually. So then beyond that, Orji, the question is around. It's easy to make, like Valentine said, to make these kinds of announcements, but beyond that is that there's also a responsibility on the Minister of Aviation, and regulatory agencies to ensure that the airlines are given a conducive environment enough to meet their targets. Oftentimes, it's not because they don't want to. We know that there are issues around our local airports. There are issues around landing, taking off and so on, and it's not always their fault. Is the minister also assuring, if he's going to ask them to adhere to these, wonderful updates, is the minister also assuring the airline operators that the Nigerian government will do to them what is due to them, and what is the penalty for them failing to
especially the Nigerian Airports Authority?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it's an interesting question you asked because it also brings to mind
Civil Aviation Authority.
Because Nigerian regulatory agencies sometimes enter the field and start acting as competitor at some time. So they are both regulator and competitor. The minister is still interested in airline. Is it Nigeria Air or Air Nigeria? It would be good for him to also lead by example. It's to lead by example when that's them, if and when that materializes. But you're correct. It's a system. Everyone has a role to play. The government, the regulatory agencies have the role to provide that enabling environment for business to thrive. Then the businesses themselves must also be honest. And then their staff who have been accused recent times of fleecing customers must also learn to stop that. And then passengers must also learn to be ruly in dealing with these agencies. It's a system. All of us have a role to play, one way or the other.
Absolutely. Some comments here. Emmanuel from Ikeja says, as analyzed, these announcements are already enshrined in the regulations on passenger rights. The minister isn't saying anything new. The problem is the bureaucracy of settling claims and passengers' frequent unwillingness to follow through with the process.
Thank you so much for that. And then this one from Abayomi Akarakiri reads, good morning. The local airline operators will not comply and will still blame the federal government. That's the part really that involves the regulatory agencies.
Exactly. It's their responsibility to ensure that they comply. If there are consequences for non-compliance, trust me, the private organizations will comply.
Let's move on to this next story. Speaking from compliance to confirmation and partisanship. Lauretta Onochie is in the stories this morning. Yesterday, we heard that she was confirmed. Actually, on June 9th, the Senate President, Ahmed Lawan, had directed the Senate's INEC committee to screen Ms. Onochie and 4 other nominees to be part of the steering committee, or rather the chairing body, so to speak, for the 2023 elections. The controversy surrounding her is not new, right? As PDP, especially the opposition party, the major opposition party, have been kicking against her supposed partisan alliance with the presidency in conducting this, saying beyond nepotism and all those other things, allegations that have been leveled against her, saying she's not the best person to fill that position. But in her reaction, the personal assistance to the president on new media, like the same person, Lauretta Onochie, has claimed that she's not partisan. Well, not anymore. But what do you know about this story, Orji, that you'd like to highlight?
Okay, so like you rightly pointed out, this story is not new. It broke some months ago when she was first appointed. And then a few weeks ago, I believe I was on this show when it was announced that she was going to be screened. And I said, let's understand what has happened here. For now, the Senate has not done anything wrong. When the president sends a name to the National Assembly for ratification, they are entitled to conduct this screening. And I then urge Nigerians to do the right thing, as opposed to blaming the Senate for not comply with the constitution in the event that they go ahead to screen her successfully, that Nigerians will have themselves to blame. So let us first of all issue those complaints or petition as the case may be. And I believe, as is mentioned, a number of people did, including the opposition PDP. The fact here is it is funny. Someone asked this question early in the morning, and say, what is the desperation on the part of the presidency to ensure that this appointment succeeds? And I said, I don't think it's a question of desperation. I really don't think it's about them having any. For me, I genuinely believe that this appointment was made by the president in their characteristic nonchalance. Because we've had under this administration, we've seen appointment of dead people, we've seen appointment of those who are clearly not qualified for a particular role. And in this case, she is a card-carrying member of the APC. Yeah. And she is clearly partisan, which is not what the constitution expects of INEC. That's why it's INEC. INEC used to be NEC, National Electoral Commission. It then became Independent National Electoral Commission. As you've mentioned, she is the essay to the president or PA, as the case may be, on new media. Yes. So there's no denying that. And she's deposed to an affidavit to say, I am a member of the APC. But the interesting thing about the story, which is the question you've asked, is that according to her, she did depose to the affidavit immediately she returned to the country.
Yes. Hi, Orji. In her response, actually, she said, okay, go ahead.
Say that she was, she deposed to the affidavit to say that she was a member of the APC.
Yes. She very well did. And in her response, quoting it here on this
appointment are those who.
Go ahead, Orji. We just lost your audio for a few seconds, so please, you can go ahead.
Sure. So she says that those who are against her appointment are those who, because she insists on due process, people are now against her appointment because she follows the law, she follows the rules, she follows due process. For me, if she follows due process, the best thing to do would have been to withdraw from the nomination and save the president and everyone this embarrassment. I have also seen recently, I saw it on social media yesterday, an affidavit purported to be deposed by her that says in 2021, where she said that she is a member of the APC. If that is correct, then it's either she has lied to the National Assembly or she has lied, because she said she also stopped being a member of the APC in 2019. But like I said, I've seen an affidavit for 2021, whether it's correct or not, I don't know. That says, whether it's genuine or not, I don't know. That says she is a member of the APC as of 2021. So it's either she lied to say that she is a member of the APC in 2021, or she lied to say she stopped being a member of the APC in 2019. Either way, it is not good for the image of the president and the presidency, and it's not good for due process in Nigeria.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because people were even encouraging her to toe the line of what's her name, the lady we discussed yesterday, former Minister of Finance, yes, Kemi Adeosun, to resign in this sense. And her response, she says, I have no partisanship bone in my body until I was invited to come and work with the president. All
right, I think, if only they hadn't banned Twitter, it would have been nice to go through her timeline, because she has some interesting tweets.
And Twitter is part of the new media, right? And she hosts the aide to the president on new media.
It will be difficult if you read her Twitter handle to understand, to agree with her that she's non-partisan. Right. By the way, a number of people asked for that email address, Orji, that you posted about the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, and it's you can go to their website, user.fccpc.gov.ng, and file a complaint online, or if you email contact@fccpc.gov.ng. That's another way that you can make your report. Anything. It doesn't have to just be about aviation, but it's to protect your consumer rights. So if you've been sold something that's substandard or fake or bad service, you can go on there and report, and they usually take action.
So it's contact@fccpc.gov.ng.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that, Ayo. And
let me just add that for those in Lagos, they also have a zonal email address. I believe it's Lagos@fccpc, or if you can double check that as well. Those ones also respond. They are very efficient. I can say so myself.
Yes, thank you so much. Breaking, MultiChoice Nigeria debunks FIRS 1.8 trillion naira tax debt claim. So previously, the FIRS had reported that that the MultiChoice owes them this sum, but MultiChoice has debunked them, say it's false, claiming that the Federal Inland Revenue Service they've denied the liability as claimed by the FIRS, saying it was not also ready to engage in the institution in a war of words or media brawl, but would find a peaceful and better means of resolving the misunderstanding should FIRS bring the issue to its notice. So, I mean, this media war, Orji, what are your thoughts on this?
Oh, okay, yeah. So we had something like this with MTN.
Yes.
So it's a two-way thing. On one hand, every corporate citizen should be a good corporate citizen, and by that I mean pay your taxes. Yeah. So the tax avoidance, tax evasion is not just a bad thing; it is an offense. So it is always a good thing. And so and government get their money through taxes, honestly. So when we hear of people who ought to pay taxes who don't pay taxes, it's always a bad thing and it's condemnable. On the other hand, the other point is it true? Because we know that we also know that our some of our regulatory agencies are not sometimes when they say things, you need to look at it critically before you respond. And the first thing that struck me when I read the story, yes, I saw the news break yesterday on social media, but from what MultiChoice is saying now, they have not been contacted by FIRS. Just like you and me, they said MultiChoice Nigeria has not received any notification from FIRS. We respect and are comfortable that we comply with the laws of Nigeria. We have been and are currently in discussion with FIRS and regarding their concerns and believe that they will be able to resolve the matter reliably. So they claim that FIRS just went to the news or to the media to announce that they are owing over a trillion naira and all of that. There's a procedure for tax payments. It's that first procedure for self-assessment. If you've not done it, then the tax agency will then come in to tell you what they think is their best judgment of what your tax is. So we really don't know the full story, other than to say that those Nigerians that are nationalistic in nature, that are really condemning MultiChoice being a South African owned, I'll just ask them to make haste slowly. Let the procedure take its course. Yes. The money, if they are owing us, should be paid because we need it to build roads. We need it too. I will stop borrowing billions or trillions of naira as we currently do. But the agency should do the right thing, take the right procedure, and then forget about media war, as MultiChoice has said. Let's get it done. Let's do the right thing.
So, if I were the owner of MultiChoice, and this clearly is if this is a wrong allusion or allegation, right, against me, and by the effect of this media publication, it has affected my business and lost me customers, do I have a right to sue the regulatory agency for loss and probably defamation?
You always have the right to sue anybody. That's the fact. Whether you succeed or not is a different thing entirely. But the other thing is you also need to understand that the regulatory agency may just be doing its job. Although I don't believe it's the right thing for you to go to the press as a regulatory agency at every point in time. There is a procedure, and I'll be really disappointed if it turns out to be true. That because normally what should happen is they will send a letter to the company involved, in this case MultiChoice, and that maybe that letter will be leaked to the press, and then but there should be formal communication.
Yes.
You don't go to the press to call a press conference when you have not indeed reached out to the people involved. But again, if you reach further down, MultiChoice themselves also say that they have been in discussion with FIRS, which would suggest to me that discussions were
they've been connected.
Even if maybe in that discussion they didn't claim it was 1.something trillion naira, but they have been in discussion because as a corporate citizen, they must be in constant discussion with the tax authorities. But like I say, both sides need to, in the interest of progress, sit down and resolve it. At the end of the day, it may just be 10 million naira.
Because 1.8 trillion, how much is MultiChoice making and how much is our tax?
From what our discussions earlier this morning on Business Express, MultiChoice is the sum of the group's earnings in 1 year is not up to 1.8 trillion.
Did you understand? So they're paying their whole revenue as tax.
They are selling their company. So let's see how this pans out. Yes, and again, we had a conversation. You can watch that video as well around the impact on the perception of foreign investors in terms of just like what you mentioned, Orji, going to the media, talking about these things, freezing accounts, just like that. Let's move on to our next story. Magu promotion saga. PSC, that's the Police Service Commission, not Buhari, determines eligibility. So apparently, this is a Vanguard report, and a newspaper had reported that President promotes Magu, who is still under, there's been a recommendation that's not very flattering from Justice Ayo Salami panel, which we're all privy to. We discussed it here. So what you're expecting is not a promotion from Commissioner of Police Commissioner to Assistant Inspector General of Police. The presidency have come out to say, well, please don't tag Buhari in this. It has nothing to do with it.
Okay, I guess this is where I come in. You're right. It's not the president that promotes. There's a police service commission that's in charge of promotion. Now, I should also make it clear that what happened was not that they singled out Magu for promotion. It was a clean promotion exercise that took place. And as a matter of fact, I think I should also add that there was news yesterday that the PSC has in fact promoted to something former commissioners of police to office of Assistant Inspector General of Police, and Ibrahim Magu was not part of them. I understand what the PSC decided to do ultimately, which I think is the right thing, is to say we're going to hold on to your maybe you are qualified for promotion, but we're going to hold on until this controversy around you, surrounding you, is so one way or the other. And I think it's also the right time to mention this. I do not believe that Salami report has been made public. Yeah, we know some of the things that are contained therein from snippets of it. We also know that it was based on that he was ultimately removed as EFCC acting chairman, a position he held for maybe 200 years, contrary to what it should be, because it does not make any sense. For me, it destroys the spirit and letter of a law or constitution if somebody in acting capacity stays there longer than the person who is there in substantive capacity. But we now have a new EFCC chairman. If Magu has done something, so it's either it was a witch hunt or it's not a witch hunt. If it was not a witch hunt, they should tell us what he did, and if possible, charge him and do the right thing. Don't just sweep it under the carpet and then think that Nigerians will forget, and the next thing we're talking about is possibility of him being promoted. But again, I repeat, PSC has done the right thing. They've shelved his own and promoted others, those who are qualified. Ultimately, we expect that this issue is resolved. He was the head of the anti-corruption group in Nigeria. There is no better person that should give you reason to do things by the books. Yes. If he has done something wrong, charge him to the court. We just make a meal of a lot of things, and it doesn't help us. It doesn't help the image of the country. It doesn't help the people involved. It's just embarrassing sometimes. Yeah.
I hope that if that before they charge him, they parade him with that big EFCC board, the white board, so they can have a taste of their medicine.
I hope they don't, because that would be because it's clearly wrong, as I'm sure you.
Yes, of course. I mean, we discussed this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, clearly they should stop it, and they shouldn't do it to him because it's him, but they should stop it. Some of them don't even know it's the wrong thing. It's an infringement of their rights.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Orji. Immigration boss warns against cash payments at passport offices. Comptroller General of the Nigeria Immigration Service, Mohammed Babandede, has asked Nigerians to stop paying cash at all NIS passport offices because the agency no longer receives cash payments for any of its services in order to reduce corruption in the system.
Yes, the CEO says, and I quote, "We are no longer in the era of bribes as everything is down to e-government. These services are here for Nigerians, and they must learn to take advantage of having a real-time engagement with government. The NIS is the most reformed government institution that is customer sensitive, taking advantage of the ICT era for improved service delivery to Nigerians and foreigners alike." Those are really very bold claims. I think it's up to other agencies of government to say that they are right or wrong, but I give it to the Immigration Service. They, to be honest, if they want to do the right thing, they do it. Although sometimes we have the issue of them not having access to booklets and all of that. But I agree that they are a reformed government institution. They are one government institution that uses technology a lot, and it's a good thing. But this one of not making payments, I don't know if it's all over the country. I believe in places like Lagos and Abuja clearly, but I don't know if that's the case in the rest of the country. But they've said so. So Nigerians should.
So go online. And I think it's important to mention that they also mentioned their chat line service. So you can talk to someone, chat with someone real time. So just like you mentioned, one of the agencies that have embraced technology to make their work smoother.
Yes.
All right, let's move on. Or do we take a few comments and then move on to our final story for today?
Yes, please. We have this one very quickly in from Nee. Nee says, how can they be owing over $1 trillion on tax? How much revenue do they make? Something is definitely wrong with the tax authorities. Samuel from Lekki says, your analysts keep saying president's image. Please, what does it look like? Shouldn't the president withdraw this Onochie nomination to save his image, his own image, or is he trying to repay a favor?
Yeah, someone said earlier that is she the only one in Delta State? Why must she be the one? All right, after the controversy. All right, final story, quick one here. 5 killed, 4 injured in Lagos-Ibadan expressway road crash. Very unfortunate incident yesterday. He said it happened when an outbound Toyota Hiace bus conveying 9 passengers rammed into a faulty and stationary truck beside Christopher University, killing 5, while others sustained various degrees of injury. Yet another accident, unfortunate, on this road and against stationary trucks. How do we handle or sort out this menace?
Well, first thing is to say that God rest the soul of those that have perished on that road. If we collate the number of Nigerians that have died on that road in the past 10 years, you'll be shocked at the number. And this is a road that has been in the news for decades now. This is a road that all the money that comes in from Abacha loot, whatever, it's always it's always either a Second Niger Bridge or Lagos Ibadan Expressway. How to solve it for me is just that the road is fixed. The government needs to do the right thing. This is the reason why they collect taxes. And for each soul that dies on that place, there's innocent blood crying out for justice.
Yes.
And it is not fair. It is not right. We can do better and we should do better.
Thank you. And that's a great note to end. We can do better. We should do better. We talked about the cholera outbreak in Plateau during the news bulletin earlier today. But just to mention, however, NCDC say that they're on top of things. They recorded 953 cases, 14 deaths in only 2 months.
Imagine that.
All right, that's all we can take this morning. As always, a big thanks to you, Orji Uka. Thank you very much indeed. And it's very difficult not to say barrister because you do that title justice.
I'm telling you. In fact, somebody sent in a message saying barrister. Orji is give apt analysis this morning.
And it was D from Alausa.
D from Alausa. Yeah. That's right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. In 10 minutes.
Thank you for having me.
All right, excellent. In 10 minutes, we're going to be having our Lagos Talks 901 Feel Good Friday edition. So if you're raring to go in terms of hoping to discuss our news, we're discussing something on a lighter note. And if you'd like to know what we're going to be talking about for the next 40 to 50 minutes, you can go onto our Instagram page. There's a question there @Smooth901 and an interesting video you just might want to see of Valentine and myself.